work. So Giulia, I would like to pass the virtual floor for you for sharing your presentation.
And here it is. All right. So thank you, Krista, for introducing the outcomes of our research, first of all, and for giving me the floor to change. And after we briefly gave you a frame of what mental health in mental safety is and what we talk about in our research. Now we will change and go to what physical safety means, and specifically we will try together to talk about solutions to identify and reduce physical risk. When my colleague Krista was talking, I just thought that also in our poll, physical risk was not it didn't have such a high percentage of answers as mental health risk, because probably it's just more visible and we take care of it. It's easier to take care of it. We see it. We see where risk is. And so if we see fire, we are ready to intervene. If we see that something is damaged, we are able and ready to take care of it. And maybe this is the reason why we don't feel so much affected by physical risk. So maybe sometimes we take it like we underestimate it. So let's move on. I would like to use the chat together with you, but Vicky, I see that if I share my screen like in large, I cannot see the chat, or yes?
You can see the chat.
Oh, yes, it's up here.
But if you want, I can support you when you are sharing what you need.
Okay, maybe yes, thank you. In exactly, why do I need the chat? Because I would like to enter the topic with you slowly. And you can see we have 3 numbers here. I would like to you to answer the questions using the numbers. So for number 1, answer, number 2, answer, number 3, answer. The questions are, which are the most common youth environments, meaning where do you believe youth trainings, or where do you believe youth generally gather together, are in group together? Number 2, why are young people more vulnerable to physical injuries? What's your opinion? And number 3, which are the main characteristics of a safe and accessible space? So what do you believe it's a safe and accessible space? So typing number 1, 2, and 3, I would like to know what your answers are.
I posted in the chat an example, make it clear that you are invited for answering those questions.
The first are answering. Just a few more seconds. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your answers. Some of them are very detailed. So maybe Vicky will leave those to you. And it's interesting, I was just scrolling up and down that many of you mentioned school, because yes, probably it's the place where we can see our youngsters more. And street clubs, okay, playgrounds were mentioned. So all the usual place where, of course, youth, youngsters gather together. They're more vulnerable because someone said they underestimate danger, which is probably a characteristic of that age, yes. And I don't know where is it, but someone said imprudence, which again, yes, it's one of those characteristics. And something that maybe was mentioned, but I didn't read, it's that, of course, we know that at that age, they're just more physical, meaning that they move more, they want to move more, and they probably adding this to some imprudence makes physical risk coming more. Main characteristics of a safe and accessible space, yes. A lot of you mentioned that there must be fire emergency kits or first aid kits, or being empathetic and present sometimes was mentioned. Yes, remember always that it cannot, someone said that it's not only physical risk, there always needs to be also someone giving directions and making rules clear, which is something that is super important. And I take this to mention something. As my colleague Krista said, one of the outcomes of the training was a booklet of recommendations. There, you will find that some of the things you wrote, are already there. They're just in a list and well better explained. And remember, yes, that guidelines, rules, establishing boundaries, all those things are super important, not only when we talk about mental safety, but also when we talk about physical safety. Okay, and thank you again for your answers. We're going to use the chat more. I'm going to move on. Here, I made a short list, because of course we can move on forever, of common physical risks in youth spaces, from the most basic, which sometimes we give, maybe we don't give much attention to, some more specific. I just will give you a few seconds to read it. It's something that you may have seen in your school place or workplace, or in places where you work with youth, probably as well. But we go farther and deeper into something more important. So this is something it should have been taken care of before people go into a facility. And also remember that if we are open air, if we are working outdoor, something we should really take care of is also weather condition or the environment condition, but we will talk about that more. And one that number 9, something that is I'm specifically mentioning it before. We talked about it during the training, the first aid kit. The first aid kit is one of the points that is mentioned in the recommendation booklet. It's something very easy and simple, and at the same time very important, because it may save that specific injury. It may be very important. So check in your workplace. This is your homework when you come home after the online conference. Check in your workplace, check at home, school, wherever you are working or staying for a long time, if there is a first aid kit. Okay, as Vicky said, I'm very happy to work with you using something very specific. We're going to use the risk matrix tool. It's a tool that was initially developed for military goals. And then it was better developed, and now we can use it, you will see, for everything we need when planning situations, planning events. Specifically in this case, when we plan something, when working with youth, it's very immediate and visual. So I find it important and useful because immediately you can have a view, yes, of if what I'm planning, it's as a high probability of risk or impact. We will see how it works, but it's really, let's imagine that I'm going to, I will use Krista's example. I'm going to the shop. My 7 years old son is going to the shop. How high is the probability that he will get lost, for example? Probably very low, because the shop is in front of my house. He knows the way, so that probability is very low. How high is the impact in case he gets lost? Well, again, it's probably very low. We're here, number 1 or 2, because as we said, the characteristics are that he knows the way, he won't get lost, it's a rare event. The impact, again, is very low, because I know that he's aware of the way and nothing is going to happen. So it's a good thing that I'm going to say, okay, go to the shop alone. Or if I'm planning a trekking on a high mountain, I've never been there, how high is the probability that I will sprain my ankle? Well, if I go to the mountain wearing sandals, that probability goes here in the yellow one, it's very high. And the impact of what will happen, which mean spraining my ankle, again, it's going to be very high. So probably I'm going to be here, number 12, because probability of a risk coming and the impact of what is going to happen are very high. And this was just to give you a view of how we use the risk matrix, how to use the tool, if you want, to plan something quickly. We're going to use it together. I circled the numbers in the chat because it's the numbers you're going to use in the chat, and you will see how now. You have a scenario, okay? I will read it out for you, and we'll read the answers together, and then we're going to use the risk matrix together. Imagine you're going for a trekking with a group of 10 youngsters. Type in the chat the corresponding number of risk for each statement. So you will use the letter A and the number of risk you believe it's going to happen if one of the youngsters sprains his ankle. So how high is the probability and how high is the impact? B, someone faints due to high fatigue. C, when you reach the top, you realize there isn't any place for food or water. Everyone is thirsty. And maybe Vicky will give you just an example of how to use it, and I will wait for your answers. Yes. I can see that, of course, A, it's in the medium boxes, of course, I agree with you, because it's something that can happen to anyone. Of course, again, you can see that medium, it's very wide. You have number 9, 10, 11. So from, where is it, 3 to 14, there's a big difference. It still is medium. It means that what changes between number 3 or number 14? How can we decide, okay, it's still medium, what changes? A lot of variables, so a lot of different details. It can be number 3, which is great, if you wear the proper shoes, if you are trained, if it's not the first time you go for a trekking, if all the rules, boundaries, and guidelines have been talked before. So you have a well-prepared group. And then we can say that, yes, risk, something can still happen, of course, but we take it under number 3. But if you just say, okay, guys, let's go for a trekking with no preparation at all, then immediately, as someone of you wrote, medium goes to number 14, because you did nothing to prepare your event. And all the risks are just there, ready to happen. And it's very interesting to see that for number C, I saw number 1, which is incredibly low, or 12, exactly for what we said. It depends. If you don't plan properly, risk can have this shade from 3 to 14, can be incredibly low or super high. Vicky, do I have time for, again, a scenario number 2, or am I going too long?
Go, Giulia, go.
Okay, thank you. Before scenario number 2, I'd like to ask you, you worked very good on the different, on spotting the different numbers in risk, thank you. And how now? We spotted the risk, we planned in advance our tracking with the youngsters. What do we do? How do we reduce risk? Now, again, I need you to use the letters A, B, C, and just type a quick solution or something you would do in advance. For example, number 1, wearing proper shoes. Letter 1, wearing proper, letter A. Or B, your solution. I don't want to give you any suggestion. So I would like you to type solutions or something that you would plan in advance to reduce the risks we talked about. Prepare, absolutely, preparation, planning and preparation. Letter B is bring a first aid kit. Yes, exactly. Now we know, bring a first aid kit. Okay. Emergency skills, exactly. All right. So we already know that the first aid kit is vital. Yes. And about number B specifically, something that I quickly want to say is that it's a bit tricky. It's something that can happen even to me, that I've been on trekkings like all my life, so I could consider myself trained. But of course, with a group of people you don't know or you don't know well, it's very important to prepare in advance, also making questions. It's not only about physical preparation, but you have to know who you're working with. Oh, okay, good. Someone also said educate the group. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you very much for all these great answers. Training. All right. Yes. And also remember, again, for number B, I put it there because maybe fainting, we can consider that it's number 3, 4. So not likely to happen. The probability is not very high. But if it does happen, then the consequences are incredibly high. So the probability may be low, but then you have also to consider the impact of what is happening. That can be, of course, riskful. You can hit your head and so on and so forth. Good, thank you. Thank you for participating and giving me all these great answers. You're incredibly well prepared. Now, again, we're going to scenario number 2. This is something you may have experienced. You organize the party for the end of an international training. You rent the place. It's not a place you know, you rent it. And participants attending will be between 17 and 21 years old. Someone is underage, someone is not. Again, as we did before, letter and number. Where do we put in the risk matrix the probability of one or more getting drunk, a blackout due to electrical surge, which means too much power, and emergency due to overcrowding? Here, what I meant, it's emergency due to the facility, the place you are being. So some emergency that can be caused because you maybe didn't check the place. Those are the 4 most common: fire, collapse. Collapse means a brick coming from up, or the what else? The furniture is not okay and gets broken. Compression, it's when there are too many people in a small place, like imagine a concert, and then in case of emergency, everyone compresses together and falls. This is just a normal fall. I will shut up. And A, B, C, where is the risk in the risk matrix? A12, someone already said it's going to be high. Yes, one of or more getting drunk. Most of you put it in like the highest probability because it is what is going to happen, you know. Someone wrote 3. I'm very interested in how possibly you will prevent one of more getting drunk, avoiding alcohol, like at all. That can be. I can see that, yes, blackout, of course. It's something that you put in medium, low, because for sure you are people that would check the place. You would check the power intake, so nothing would happen. Great work. and emergency due to overcrowding. Of course, if you know who is coming with you, you know the number of people. Overcrowding, it's not possible, let's say, unless they bring all their friends. But if it does happen, we'll see how to solve it. Great, thank you. And now, as we did before, let's go to the solutions. So most of you said that one or more getting drunk is like high probability. Yes, I agree with you. What's the solution? Blackout. Maybe not due to electrical surge because you're great, you check the place, you know that nothing is going to happen, but just for a normal blackout. It happens, what do you do? And not overcrowding, but emergency, maybe any emergency of the one you can say here, fire, collapse, compression, or falls. So fire and falls. If someone falls down or if fire happens, what do you do? So again, letter and solution. Without alcohol, that's how you solve it, and it's number 3. Preparation, of course, yes. Emergency skills. Remember, you do not have to be trained like to be a doctor or a nurse. Emergency skills are the basic skills we all need to have for these minor injuries that may happen. Serving a little of alcohol. Okay, yes. Maybe not to the underage ones. Checking. Okay, yes. Speak, check, control. Flashlights. Exactly. Good. Drink water. If someone gets drunk, you need to have plan B. Drink a lot of water. Limit the quantity. Okay, yes. And a lot of you mentioned previous preparation, of course. Yes, you need to check, you have to prepare and to plan the event you want to take place on. So great, perfect. And also a lot of you said maybe the best way to put to 0 the risk of people getting drunk is provide non-alcoholic drink options. Yes, or not alcohol at all. Thank you for your great participation and for the answers, because I do not give them for granted, and reading them I can see that you already are into the thinking, you already are into the good way of, if there's an event I need to prepare, how do I need to prepare in this and this way? If anything happens, because it may happen, how do I solve the problem? Doing this, and this. So there were also solutions for blackout happens, have flashlights. Someone gets drunk, water, in extreme cases called the ambulance, So great, thank you very much. Let's move on. It's great, no? Now we have this fantastic tool. Everything we're going to plan from now on, it's going to be risk-free. So can we use the risk matrix to avoid risk? It's perfect. We try to plan everything in order to be number 1, super low, and our life goes smooth. Sorry, no, we can't. Absolutely, we can't. It's impossible to avoid risk completely at all. Also because imagine that you want to organize one of those trekking we mentioned before. Exactly, not to avoid. We need to reduce risks. Anything can happen at any time, but we planned it, so we are super incredibly prepared for anything that's going to happen. Avoid risk means that we sit in our kitchen and we do nothing. It's not what we mean, of course. Using it instead, so having this tool very visual, helps us, because immediately you can see where you are and decide how to take action in case something you're planning is very risky. You modify it. You can spot immediately. You can spot risk. You evaluate it and give priority to the ones that are higher. So you have a great plan. You are not taking too much, giving too much importance to something that maybe it's not important. So you can prioritize risk when it's super high. And as someone of you already mentioned, you reduce. We use the risk matrix just to reduce the probability of risk happening. Something incredibly important, it's my last slide. Remember that prevention is a cycle. You plan something, you go, everything goes greatly, and you're done. No. You need to learn from what you did. So you plan it, you do it. Maybe in the meanwhile, you check what's going well and what it's not. You take action about that. So what worked well, I will implement it for the next time. What did not work well, I will eliminate, I will modify it. And again, I will plan my activity for the next time. And this is a never-ending cycle. It makes you better and better from time to time. And as it's written here, it's a continuous improvement. Thank you. Thank you very much for your great participation. And any question, I'm here for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you a lot, Giulia. Thank you very much for this informative presentation.